You'll know it's a good movie when you get there a Guardian swag. Yeah, I mean, I got this. I wore it in the theater reaction. The problem is this is not actually a mask. This is literally the top of a popcorn bucket. It opens up right in the front. Whoa! It opens up right in the front, right there. So it opens up like that, which is pretty cool, especially with the popcorn bucket, which is also pretty nice in the metal bucket. The only problem is if you actually look at, you can see that it's not designed to be worn, unfortunately. I mean, I could probably like break these off and make it easier to wear, but I'm not going to do that. Still, I got me my swag. You gotta get swag. You got a movie you're actually really interested down for, and yeah, Thunderbolts. It's ironic that the three swags I got, the Red Hulk popcorn bucket, which I have downstairs, the Wolverine popcorn bucket, which is over there, and now the Red Guardian popcorn bucket. But yeah, I mean, and ironically, the weakest one of those movies was Brave New World, which I didn't even hate, just disappointing. But here we have Thunderbolts. It's got around, I want to say, an 89% of Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. The audiences are, by majority, really enjoying it. And if you saw my out of theater reaction, you know my thoughts on it. This movie's great. This is a needed win for the MCU. This is just a needed win for the movie year as a whole. It's been a little up until we got Minecraft, we were struggling a little bit with like the box office for this year. But this is a movie that's a big win. The audiences are going to really just kind of flock to this because it really does feel like more of a traditional MCU movie. It's got your characters, it's got the humor in there, but it's also a film with a message, a very unique message for a superhero film. The post-credit scene, stay for it. It leads into the next phase of what's coming next for the MCU. It's a really well pieced together film. The standouts you've been hearing it's Lewis Pullman. I was saying Bill. Bill Pullman's his dad. But Lewis Pullman as Bob, aka the Sentry. And Florence Pugh as Yelena. I'll go one step further. I'd add David Harbour as Alexei Shostakov, Red Guardian, in there as well. He's kind of a standout in his own way. But no, yeah, this is carried from the very opening shot of the film to pretty much the end of the film. This is carried on Yelena's shoulders. This is carried on Florence Pugh's shoulders. And she shows us why she is one of the best actresses working today. She can do the action like it's nobody's business. A lot of those stunts she is actually doing. She doesn't do the full jump off the building stunt herself, but she does part of it. And like there's a later sequence you see in one of the like clips where she's kind of flipping through a room. She's actually doing that. Like of course she's in her like 20s, so she's got that body to do it. So you got the youth, you got your body can take it. By all means, have fun. But she can do the physicality, no problem. She can still be funny, although it's clearly a very cynical, deadpan humor a little bit, or cynical, worn humor based on where her character's at. But when she is hurting, emotionally, not physically, but when she's hurting and she's just lost, man, Florence Pugh is good. Florence Pugh is just damn good. Even in movies that I don't like very much, like Don't Worry, Darling. Not a very good movie, but she's good in it. Florence Pugh is great in this film, absolutely. And, I mean, the story starts and follows mostly Yelena, but all these ragtags, where she is feeling lost. She's feeling empty. She's feeling a void, which that clip's been online, so that's not a spoiler. So she's just lost. She's depressed. She's still mourning the loss of Natasha, Black Widow. She hasn't seen her dad in a year. And she's still working for Valentina, as we see, and this leads her into conflict with the other members of the Thunderbolts, which when we learn where that name comes from, it is quite hilarious. It's a good name, but it is hilarious. But it's the name of the team is important. I'll just say that. But yeah, her story arc and where it ultimately leads her is really, really relatable, I think, for a lot of people. not almost, but not as relatable, weirdly enough, as the storyline involving Bob, involving the Sentry. Lewis Pullman, I was a little, because Lewis Pullman's kind of got, weirdly enough to say, kind of a doughy face. He definitely looks like a younger version of his dad to some degree. But I buy him as a Sentry. Like, you might have seen clips leaked online from people who saw the movie. Try to just see the movie on your own. But the Sentry part of it looks great. Like, it's one of those costumes that you might worry a little bit that it's translated, how it's translated to live action, but it's translated really, like, it looks good. It's a good looking outfit. And Bob is like the most precious guy in the world in this movie. Like, you just kind of you really do want to just give Bob a hug, especially when he's talking about like the struggles he's had as a person. No context for this, no context whatsoever. But it's related to to like the comics and the character. Like, he's a character who has had mental issues, who's had addiction issues, and all that. So I never expected in a non-Deadpool R-rated film in the MCU to ever hear the line, "I was on meth." I've never seen. I'm not going to explain the context for that, but it's oh man, it is a funny line. And weirdly enough, what's not supposed to be a necessarily funny scene, but it is kind of a funny scene. But yeah, and the Sentry, if you don't know who the Sentry is, real quick, he's essentially one of the versions of Superman that was created for Marvel. And he is powerful. This is a guy who can beat the Hulk back into Banner. And what I mean by this, beat the Hulk so hard he turns back into Banner, tore the God of War Ares in half, has gone toe-to-toe with Galactus. Yeah, and Doctor Doom, like, who's amped. Yet Sentry's no joke. So it's no surprise, and I'm not gonna say how powerful they let me put it this way. They have not shown us the full power of the Sentry in this movie. They've shown us a glimpse of it. So, but yeah, when they have to try to take him down, then as you clearly see, no, we can't beat this guy. But then there's the other half. And this is from the trailers, not a spoiler. There's the darker half of the center of Bob, the Void. It's that shot, it's that form you see of him where he's just black and those like star pinpoint eyes. This is a very different Void than what we get in the comics. The Void in the comics is essentially the Angel of Death. It is, by all accounts, it is a separate entity that lives in him, and to an extent it is here too. But it's literally like a biblical destruction level figure. Whereas here, it is without too many spoilers. They lean more into the mental health aspects with the Void here, which leads ultimately to a climax that I was pleasantly surprised with, because it is one of those scenarios where it's like, you can't beat this the conventional way. You have to beat it a different way. It's weird to say. It's weird that this movie keeps getting brought up anytime I'm seeing a movie this year now. But Woman in the Yard, which has now been out for well over a month now. In fact, a month and a half. So I think it's okay. And it came and went like a fart in the wind. So I think it's okay to talk about spoilers. If you don't want to hear spoilers about Woman in the Yard, I'm going to hold my hand up and we'll bring it down when the spoilers done. Okay, ready? Go. So the idea that the spirit, which is a spirit, it's not just her imagination. We can confirm that thing is a legit spirit. Maybe even like legitimate Grim Reaper. It's all a metaphor for her mental health and suicidal thoughts. And so when we get to the end of that movie, I'm like, I'm not exactly sure I like how... I don't mind what they were trying to do with that concept, but I just don't like how they did that concept. So that's the spoilers. Spoilers for Woman in the Yard done. What we get with the Void is something similar, definitely something akin to that concept, but handled in a much more, honestly, it's a much more mature way. Not no cartoony way or anything. No. First off, the Void it's a simplistic effect on it, but damn, is it creepy. And the distortion they do on his voice to make him sound like the Void. It's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to go toe to toe with this guy. And they do some fun, they do some creative stuff. Like there's a scene where guys with guns are shooting at the Void, And when you shoot at Sentry, yeah, the bullets just kind of bounce off him. He's invulnerable by conventional means. But when you shoot at the Void, nothing happens. But they're clearly aiming at him, and the bullets must clearly be hitting that target. So what's going on? Well, it's because he's literally a void. There's nothingness there. So it's just all disappearing. I'm like, that's clever. I like that. So yeah, like the Void and the story arc with Sentry, that frankly is a lot. I've actually heard people come out and say it's something grounded, it's something relatable, it's something I can buy into, it's something I can believe. You know, as someone who probably does, as a lot of people do go through mental health issues. So, you know, it's good to see that there's some representation in the comic book world for something like this, and it treats it with respect. It's not just brushing it over. But then, of course, you have all the other Thunderbolts as well, who are all great in their own right. You know, Bucky. Bucky is actually probably not the weakest. That's not the right word. He's the least active member of this team because he doesn't join the team until later on. It's not necessarily because he's trying to make a team. It's because he has to work with these guys. But Sebastian Stan's always great in this role. Bucky has clearly reached a much healthier place in his life. And you can see it in the way he just handles the situation. John Walker, Wyatt Russell, they actually were able to redeem him. I'm not going to say how exactly, but they actually gave this guy some redemption in this movie. They made him, even though he's an asshole, a much more likable asshole. Like, he's cracking wise. He's, like, making jokes. But we learn he's got baggage, too, beyond just what happened in Captain America. Sorry, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then there's, I can't remember her name, but Ghost. And we get more. And I love the character of Ghost from what we saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I'm glad we see her back here. And she's actually also really fun. She's got a lot of sarcastic nature to her. She's also the only one who's got powers on the team, really. Everyone else is either just strong or punches or shoots. Oh, excuse me. I had dinner not too long ago. So I really like that too. The action sequences with these guys, that 4-way fight in that facility where they all meet in the trailer. That was great. Now, like there's an early fight that's a oneer with just a single take with Yelena. Then there's the actual fight with Sentry, which is a lot of fun. Like the action that what we get is really, really entertaining. But it's all held together by these actors and these performances, really. And the writing is on point here. And look, it's a funny film too. I would say every joke landed, but I'd say about 95% of them landed. Absolutely. Red Guardian gets a lot of the jokes. Sorry about that. Red Guardian gets a lot of the jokes, and I think most of them do land. I think he is definitely the funny man of the group. Although, again, everyone has the ability to joke and has their moments. But Red Guardian's got some good zingers. I won't say the context. Just, don't drink from that big gulp. That just gave me a laugh. They really did. And then, you still got Valentina, who, frankly, by all accounts, is the Void is really the villain in this movie. But he's a villain that's been amped by the Sentry program that created Sentry to begin with, that turned Bob into that. And that program was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Valentina, who is really that perfect kind of villain you just enjoy not liking. Like, god damn it, this woman is smug, slimy, smarmy, overconfident, thinks she's in control. And the problem is, up until this point, she has been. So she's been warned, she's the person you want to see go down. And this is the first, and right from the get after her, she's got like an impeachment hearing that doesn't go in their favor. She's still in charge. After that hearing, you immediately cut to her going, shit, like, it's the first time we finally see the chinks in her armor. And beyond that, they have a moment of actually humanizing her a little bit. And I'm sure, they made us actually feel sorry for her for a little bit. She's still a terrible person, but for whatever, for whatever reason, I actually am able to feel some empathy for you. I don't agree with anything you're doing. I still hope you lose, but yeah. So it is finally good to see this character start to show the chinks in her armor. But I think it's I think I heard a quote saying something along the lines of, she's someone who read Machiavelli and rooted for like the guy or something like that. Like, she's someone who's almost always in control, but that can bite her in the ass, and that's what happens here. So all I'll say on that is there is some satisfaction near the end when it comes to the character. But otherwise, yeah, it's just a really well put together film. It's very well edited. Like, there's like no unnecessary fat on this film. At 2 hours and like 6 minutes long, this film feels like just the right length. These characters are well written. They're all enjoyable in their own ways. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of them in Doomsday, because there's basically the main cast here is pretty much all but announced for Doomsday. Like, we know the remaining Thunderbolts will be in Doomsday. That's been confirmed, and Bob Sentry will be in Doomsday. In fact, I believe they've even said Sentry is kind of going to be pretty pivotal in many ways to some of Doomsday, as well as maybe Secret Wars. At least one of those. So Sentry, we're probably going to see Sentry on full display at some point in one of the two Avengers films. It will beg the question of who the Avengers are after Secret Wars. But, yeah, no, it's just good times, man. Good times. I enjoyed myself. Trailers. We got Fantastic Four, the new one, which looked good. F1 looked good. Mission Impossible looks good. Jurassic World Rebirth, which looks good. I want a new trailer. Seen that trailer enough. They've been showing a lot of images lately coming out, so we must be due for a trailer soon, because that movie comes out in a little over 2 months, which means we should be just in time for the new trailer. Does Universal have any movies coming out this month? Because that would basically tell you when maybe the next trailer comes out. Let's see here. What movies do we got coming out for the rest of the month? Is it anything by Universal? Let's see here now. No, it's not Thunderbolts. By the way, next week, for movies, we got Juliet and Romeo, Clown in the Cornfield. There is that Shadow Force movie. That one might be the one I go see. There's just not a lot coming out the following week. But then you got Hurry Up Tomorrow and Final Destination. Neither of those, really. Mission Impossible, Lilo and Stitch, and Friendship. Neither of those are Universal. So, I mean, honestly, if we're just going by studio films coming out, there's no films actually coming out this month that are Universal that you would attach to it. But with that said, however, there is still Mission Impossible or Lilo and Stitch. I don't know if you want to attach to Lilo and Stitch, but it's still Mission Impossible that they could attach it to. And at the end of the month, there is Karate Kid Legends, maybe something else they could attach it to. Otherwise, you're not really you don't have any Universal films until How to Train Your Dragon, which at that point, that's June 13th. Jurassic World Rebirth comes out on July 2nd. At that point, you gotta have the new trailer out at that point. You got to. But that's neither here nor there. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. I really like this film. I like this film a lot. My girlfriend actually really, really liked the film, too, which I was glad we all were able to have a good time. If you've seen the film, what did you think? If you haven't seen the film yet, are you going to go see it? Let me know in the comments below. Word of mouth so far is really damn good. And it's almost certainly going to be the #1 this week. I heard that Sinners is actually probably going to eat into Thunderbolts box office. Look, Sinners might have a good weekend, but it's been in theaters now for 3 weeks. It's probably still going to have really great legs, but it's just not the same type of movie this is. That's a quadrant film. It's not something you can take your kids to. Someone asked that question. Is it, can I take my kids to it? I'm like, I don't know how old your kids are. If they're like under 13, no. If they're over 13, parental guidance. There is a lot of implied sexuality, a lot of swearing, a lot of gore. And that's just it. It's also a little lengthy. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad long, but it's one of those things where you realize you have been sitting for a little bit. When you factor all that in, well, yes. Does it still being out hurt this a little bit from the money it could make? Sure. Is it going to eat into the box office, like actually hurt it? Like, legitimately? Like, would this film if this film makes $90 million, would it have made $100 million if Sinners had not been in theaters? Probably not. But I mean, I don't think anyone's expecting an 100 million. I think the box office prediction was between 75 and 85. I am thinking it might exceed that a little bit. I'm thinking it might be more like between 80 and 95. At most, maybe 100 million. But if it can outperform 100 million, we're looking at good odds for this film because it's got no real competition next week. It's got nothing. Like I said, you got Shadow Force, but that's not going to be hurting this at all. Clown in the Cornfield, no. There's nothing next week. This film's got a clean slate next week. And we're getting into the summer movie season, so this may have a really, really good second weekend. I'm like, look, it's not going to have this type of weekend, but wouldn't it be amazing if it had a Sinners type weekend? Wouldn't it be amazing? Had like a 5% drop? That would be ridiculous. It's not going to do that. It's not. But a reasonable 40 to 50% drop, like on the low side of drops. Oh, I think that's actually well within reason. I think that, again, damn good reviews, good word of mouth. It's probably going to have some rewatchability to it, and nothing else coming out next week. Well, that's what I think. Well, I'll give my final prediction this Sunday when we do the box office, but it's got good odds. I think it's at least got good odds to drop less than 50. Maybe not a huge drop less than 50, but like I said, between 40 and 50, so maybe like a 45. So and even then, if it drops 50, I think it's going to be a low 50, 51, 52, 53. That'd be a fantastic drop. But we'll wait and see what the box office ultimately looks like next week. Or this week and then next week. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys for the next one.